Hello, welcome to the middle school orientation. My name is Mrs. Wendy Maynard, and I am the middle school coordinator as well as the 6th grade math teacher, 7th grade math, pre-algebra, history 8, and high school introduction to psychology teacher. This is my 16th year, going on 17 years starting in September at PVCA. I've had 2 children who have gone all the way through from preschool right through graduation here. My son Steven graduated the class of 2019, and my son Michael graduated with the class of 2020. And I'm really looking forward to working with your young people next year. I'd like to highlight some of the curriculum goals for the students as they come into middle school from elementary. Middle school students are just learning how to learn. And so we, as the middle school teachers, help them with skills such as organization, note-taking, study and memorization skills, and really teach them how to set themselves up for success and prepare them for high school. And we also want to integrate the Bible into every course that we teach. And so we show middle school students God's hand in every subject area as well. As part of the middle school experience, your students will get to go on the Philadelphia and DC trip. It is a trip we take every other year as COVID restrictions permit. And so your children would do that as 8th graders. So in 2024, they would be slated to go on that trip to visit Philadelphia for a part of an afternoon, and then we spend 4 days in Washington, DC. And on the years that we don't go on the Washington, DC trip, we take a trip to New York City, and also with the 7th and 8th grade. So your students as 6th graders this year would go as 7th graders to New York City next year in March of 2023. And we get to visit Ellis Island, Liberty Island, and the 9/11 Memorial Museum as well.
Hi, my name is Mrs. Jessica Sperry, and I'm the English teacher for 6th, 7th, and 8th grade here at the middle school at Pioneer Valley Christian Academy. I am really excited to be working at this school. My 3 children attend here, and my husband graduated from here. So I'm looking forward to meeting you as students and parents as you enter the middle school, and I'm really looking forward to being able to help grow your English skills. In the middle school, we do that in a variety of ways. One of the things that we want to do is give the children, the students, a little bit more ownership and responsibility. So there is sort of a gradual release of responsibility where students are responsible for reading and doing homework each night on their own. Typically, homework might be 20 to 30 minutes of reading, or sometimes working on a writing project. We have incorporated a diversity of texts to integrate many different cultures and ethnic groups, especially in the 6th grade curriculum, where we read a broad range of literature, titles such as Bud Not Buddy, I Wanda Pareja, and Fever 1793, which was an absolute favorite this year. I also incorporate vocabulary skills through a program where we teach Greek and Latin roots of vocabulary. This is a consistent program throughout the middle school so that students are really building their vocabulary and learning the Greek and Latin roots from which most of our words come from. And additionally, we also have a great writing program in the middle school. It's called the Institute for Excellence in Writing. And this is a program that teaches your children how to write in terms of structure and style. And so they learn many different writing techniques and ways to write. They learn to write creatively. They learn to write for a research report. They learn also many different techniques and styles that help them to become better writers. This is really a passion of mine, and I do believe that better writing comes through better reading. So it kind of circles back around to the literature program, where each element builds on the other and works together to create a fully incorporated and integrated curriculum that, of course, aligns with a biblical worldview. I integrate a biblical worldview into absolutely everything I teach, whether it's literature, grammar, vocabulary, or writing. And so, again, looking forward to meeting you and seeing you all next year.
Welcome to Middle School Science. This upcoming year, we are changing our format. In the previous years, 6th grade would have general science, so we would touch on all disciplines of physical science. earth science, and life science. But moving forward, 6th, 7th, and 8th will all have a very integrated approach to science. So for in 6th grade, you will have all disciplines like usual, bridging the gap from elementary entering into middle school. But 7th and 8th grade will have a build on all of the foundations so that when we are prepping you and preparing you with all the lab skills, you have way more labs, preparing you with lecture, with notes and things like that, and making that seamless connection from textbook understanding to application within the lab. You are prepared for specific disciplines in high school so that you are successful and enjoy science.
In middle school math, we reinforce the basic math skills. We do speed drills on most days where it's not a quiz or test day, where we just keep them fresh on their addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division facts. And as they get into pre-algebra, that we might expand that to some speed drills that have to do with other things like factor pairs and squares and square roots. And we also continue to build upon the skills that they've started to learn possibly in elementary, having to do with decimals, fractions, and even equations. And the other basic algebraic concepts that we start to introduce to them in preparation for what they will do in high school math. And there's also extra help available on Mondays and Thursdays each week from 2:45 to 3:30. I hold that as extra time for the students if they need a little bit more one-on-one time. That is always available to them. And if it ever changes, I would let you know. And after Math 6 is the first time when they might possibly be able to be split into 2 tracks for 7th grade. And that's based on specifically their test average, part of their grade. And that'll determine where they're placed. And so there is a possibility once they go into 7th grade to be in Math 7 or Math 7 honors. And then we have 2 tracks going from there, going right through high school as well. And specifically to 6th grade math, we're, as I said before, building upon the previously learned arithmetic skills, and we use that to build understanding of more complex operations. We do things besides with fractions and decimals. We do percents and introduction to integers and so forth. We look at the role of God in math. So like I said before, as we endeavor to integrate the Bible and God into every subject area, we'd like to point out the different attributes of God that we get to see in mathematics, such as his immutability, his infinity, his orderliness, and his universality. And students are encouraged to keep organized notebooks because in middle school, again, they're learning how to learn. So these are graded so that we can teach them the proper way to set themselves up for success. And they're also able to make quiz corrections in 6th grade math to kind of use the quiz as a learning tool. And they're able to get up to half of their points back. And I have found that that helps them when they're learning a concept to be able to go back and see what they did wrong and learn from those mistakes. And I tell them a lot of times that that's how we learn. We learn more sometimes from our mistakes than from our successes. And then we review concepts that are learned throughout the year. And at the end of the year, we would have an end of the year assessment as well. Thank you.
Hi everyone, I'm Taylor Gilbert. I'm the middle school Bible teacher here at Pioneer Valley Christian Academy. And I just want to give an overview of what our Bible program looks like here at PVCA. So in 6th grade, we start with kind of the basic building blocks of Bible study. So we look at the context of the Bible, how the Bible all fits together, all of the pieces, the big story of the Bible, and how this redemptive theme points to Jesus in the future. And in this class, we focus on lots of practical things about the Bible. So we do lots of projects. They do a scribal project at some point where they copy down part of the Bible like the ancient scribes used to do in the ancient world. Moving on from 6th grade, in 7th grade, we do an overview of the Old Testament, a whole survey from beginning to end, from Genesis through the prophets later on, and look at the major characters and players and the major themes of the Old Testament, all waiting for the fulfillment in Jesus in the New Testament. And that's when we move on to 8th grade. And in New Testament class, the students cover a New Testament survey. So with a focus on the life of Jesus in particular. So the students will look at the life of Christ in individual segments, and we look at his miracles, why he was such an important figure, and also focus on the heart values for these students in the Beatitudes and how we handle ourselves in the world. And in all of those classes, we focus on serious Bible study. So we really get into the text and really analyze the Bible. So they're digging in deep themselves. And that includes various projects. There's a few papers involved there and presentations on Bible character individuals. And this will be a little different from elementary also in terms of homework and other work. So for homework in particular, in my classes, you can expect homework once or twice a week, but it's going to involve really digging deep into the Bible. Here at PVCA, we focus on at first in sixth grade, we focus on geography and kind of an overview of the whole world and what different cultures look like, the histories of each of these nations. So we go from North America to South America to Europe, and then towards the end, if we have time, Africa and Asia as continents, and look at the history of the people and the culture and the mountain ranges and oceans that shaped those individual cultures. And from there, we launch into seventh grade history, which is ancient history. So we start with the Mesopotamians and move to the ancient Greeks, and then eventually to the Romans. And further on in eighth grade, they'll go beyond to modern history. But during those classes, we really focus on the vocabulary and the individuals that have shaped world history in general. And that will include focusing on projects that include studying where we live here in Massachusetts and in the Northeast of the United States, but also in the world in general. So they'll do projects that involve the ancient Mesopotamians and Egyptians and the ancient Greeks and see how all of those cultures contributed to our culture today.
Hola, buenas noches. Mi nombre es Gima Igman y soy la maestra de español. My name is Gima Igman and I'm the Spanish teacher here at PVCA. I have the blessing of teaching students from kindergarten to eighth grade. In middle school, students will be taking Spanish 3 days a week for about 40 minutes a day. In grades 6 and 7, the emphasis in teaching is more in applying the four modes of the language, which are the listening, speaking, reading, and writing. At the beginning of the year, students will expand more the vocabulary and there will be a lot of review, and their writing will be more simple, but towards the second semester, students elaborate more in their writings. And we also incorporate music, games, videos to complement their learning. Grade 8 has a similar pattern as grade 6 and 7. However, a more deep learning of grammatical structures is taught at this level, and conversations are more complex. Also, in each unit, students will learn about the differences in the culture between us, United States, and the Spanish-speaking countries. Que Dios me los bendiga. God bless you, and I'm looking forward to have all your students, all your children in my class next year. Thank you.